Greetings and salutations, fellow DC movies with a giant pillar of light shooting into the sky. It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined as always by the boy.
Hey, at least this time it wasn't around for very long.
And it was orange, not blue.
Ooh. They're expanding their color palette.
This is the Two Nerds podcast. Before we get into this, look at that ticker down there. There's a link tree in the description. All the stuff the ticker describes can be found in the link tree. Click all those links. Give me your money. I would appreciate it. No one else will. If you get at least $1 on the Patreon, it would make you cool, like Passion Killer 711, Rob, and a guy from Ohio. $5 every month gives you early episodes of Journey of Wrestling. And I have moved to the subscription model, so you don't lose out if you don't subscribe at the first of the month. You can subscribe at any time, and you'll get your full month. It's really groovy. So head on over there and do all that shit. Let's talk about The Rock, the movie.
There's so many jokes that are just right here. But at the end of the day, it's about drive.
I had a Zoa earlier. I did not care for it. I had the orange flavor.
If I drank more liquor, I would have some delicious Terramana.
Yeah, I don't know that that's worth buying. The Zoa was already like $3.
The Rock makes his money off his things. He's got his profit margins on lock. So we watched Black Adam, as you may be able to tell from the title and the thumbnail of this video.
I had to work so hard on that thumbnail, and it still looks like garbage.
Oh well.
Start from a better picture, you might say. No.
That's so what is there to say about Black Adam the movie?
Silt is. You said you really enjoyed it, and I didn't not enjoy it, but I want to give the kind of verve I think this film deserves. So please, give your estimations. Let's do the spoiler-free review. You know, it's a newish movie. We saw it in theaters.
Okay, that's fair. Spoiler-free review for Black Adam. It is very much a DC Comics movie. Both in ways that are good and bad. It's fun. It's not terribly deep. The action scenes are fun to watch. And there's some really good moments in it. I had a great time. I would have a hard time saying that, like, it's an amazing film, but I had fun watching it.
Yes. I agree with all of that. I don't know that I like it better than The Eternals. I'd have to watch The Eternals again to figure that out.
I know I like it better than The Eternals because The Eternals and this movie share a fondness for weird, kind of stilted, overly serious dialogue, but this movie has the benefit of The Rock is in it, and also Pierce Brosnan.
I cannot argue with Pierce Brosnan. My measured tone, do not let that fool you. I had a good time watching this. It's the part where it comes to recommending it. I guess if you like DC movies
or The Rock,
just watch this. It was fine. It was 2 hours long. You know, I can't really argue with the time investment.
No, I absolutely enjoyed the 2 hours I spent on this movie.
Yeah.
And I hate to accidentally damn with feigned praise. This was a fun, good film. Like, this was a good time. There are just some parts of it that bothered me enough that I hesitate to want to recommend it fully.
Well, and I think that's, you know, me as well moving away from watching the movie and being caught up in the energy of the movie. You know, sometimes you have that deflation, and I'm having a little bit of that deflation. I don't know that I'm in a hurry to watch this again.
Oh, I absolutely am not, no.
It was a popcorn movie, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
It's you know, it is what it is. It has all of the bombast and over-the-top ridiculousness you would expect from something that comes from the non-Batman side of DC Comics.
Mm-hmm. And I gotta say, there are some more, I don't know about spoilers, but specific things I do want to pretty heavily praise. So I think it's time to get into the more specific things.
I want to say one more thing. I think I enjoyed this movie most especially as, if you'll forgive the metaphor, again, the damning with faint praise, like a dog rolling in shit. I love being in this DC nonsense. I love wrapping it around me. I love stinking like it as I walk away. It was fun. Maybe not like the best idea for the use of my time in the world, but you know what? I have no regrets. I had a good time, and now I need a shower, but that's okay.
Yeah, I don't even know that's faint praise. You just directly likened it to a pile of feces.
But a pile of feces from the point of view of a dog, which is really good to roll around in. I like that DC is making movies that seem like they're worth watching and aren't unfun to sit through. Cough, Wonder Woman, cough.
I like that DC is starting to just look themselves in the mirror, go, no, I am enough. Gosh darn it, people like me.
Yeah.
I don't have to be ashamed of who I am.
DC is not Marvel. It's not.
No, it's not. And it's not. It's stopped trying to be.
Yes. And I like that this movie celebrates everything that makes DC. Keep DC weird.
Because DC Comics are fucking weird, dude.
It's an old parallel, but it stands true. For the most part, Marvel Comics characters are human beings first, superheroes second. For the most part, DC Comics characters are gods first.
And they have humanizing stories.
Often.
But, like, they're paragons.
Yeah.
They're intended to be paragons.
It reads like mythology, and as someone who's been reading a lot of mythology lately...
You know what? Honestly, that is something this movie did really well. This movie felt like myth. This movie felt like mythology in a very real way. You absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, especially in a Black Adam story, that actually works really well.
Is it particularly to my taste? No, but there's a reason I've always been a Marvel fanboy. I just prefer...
The more human-grounded stories.
Yeah. The non-distinguished competition.
Yeah.
Anyway, you wanted to get into some more specifics. I want you to get into some more specifics. Tell the people why you are now in love with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's Black Adam and you want to kiss his weirdly blue lips.
I do not want to kiss his weirdly blue lips.
Oh, okay.
Nothing against you, Mr. Johnson.
So you hate the movie, then?
I'm sure your lips are very kissable, but I'm not interested. You seem fine. But...
God, I want nothing more than The Rock to comment on this video. Why don't you want to smooch my kissable lips?
I tell you what, Dwayne Johnson, if you'd like to bend your absurd amount of social media influence and retweet that, post a link to our podcast, I'll kiss those kissable lips. If that's really what you want, if that's what it takes to get you to retweet this.
Hey, I'll lie and say I loved the Zoa. Maybe I just need to try another flavor. And maybe that other flavor needs to come with a specific koozie, a little green one. And I'll say whatever the fuck you want me to say about it.
Look, he ain't even got to pay me, man. Just that social media imprint will be enough.
That's fine. Put me on Instagram.
But give me one of your deliverables. We'll talk. But, so, this movie does a couple things that I really like in a comic book movie. And I've praised them in previous comic book movies, and I'm going to praise it here. All of the people from the fucking comic book look like they're from a comic book. They don't cringe away from the outfit. And even Marvel will usually modernize or retool to make the outfits less bombastic in a lot of cases. These guys are just fucking, like, Carter Hall stepped off a comic panel. Like, he just looks like fucking Hawkman. The sheer level of beautiful drip in Dr. Fate's outfit. He just looks like fucking Dr. Fate. I really like that. I always really like that. It's a level of commitment that I really enjoy.
Sometimes it gets a little, a suspension of disbelief breaky for me.
Like, why would someone voluntarily wear this?
I mean, there's a specific scene, and we're entering the spoiler territory now, where Hawkman is ascending the stairs to go fight Satan, dressed like he is, and my entire psyche went, oh, wow, all right. And, like, that's not me, but it's like the outfit is so... That man, that hero is like, all right, time to go fight the devil. And he is wearing a golden bird helmet and robot bird wings and wielding a spinning fire mace. Which is cool.
It's cool, but watching him do something so utterly mundane as hustle up the stairs.
Yeah, I put myself in his shoes for a second, and I know if I was him in that moment, I would be like, my life is so fucking weird.
In a Marvel movie, they would have said it.
Sure, yeah.
He would have focused on his face, and he would have gone, I'm just walking up the stairs dressed as a hawk. My life is fucking weird.
Yeah, absolutely.
Honestly, you could have fixed that by filming him doing that from the front. Letting his face emote the seriousness of the moment. It would have worked. It's that he was faced the other way, and you just see his little hawk ass just fucking going. I really like that they got... I was worried. They roost me. Because I am so used to people cringing away from the more out there comics origins that I thought they were going to literally rewrite Black Adam's history to make him just Shazam, just Captain Marvel. Then they didn't. And to be fair, that might just be a comic origin from one of the 9 reboots that have happened since I paid attention to comic books.
It was the New 52 origin, except that instead of him murdering his son for his powers, some other guy.
Yeah, I thought that he at one point murdered his son for his powers.
It's to make an anti-hero out of the character instead of a villain.
Yeah, and like, that's absolutely fair. Look, it's not a good look for your heroic centerpiece character to be so overcome with a lust for power that they murder their son.
It's also not a good look to make Hawkman right.
Yeah, it's not a good look to make
Hawkman right. If he had done his big confessional and been like, I killed my son to steal his powers. I thought they were so cool. I wanted them to kill other people with. Hawkman would be like, oh.
I was just right then. Okay. But, like... I thought that seemed similar-ish, but they took away, like, some bits of it, like he's never been the uncontested ruler of Kahndaq.
Sure. It was a version.
It's a version, and it's not, like, my favorite version, but it's certainly a version from the comics. But the version they started with was not.
Well, and let me, let's talk about that, because I'm not a big Black Adam fan. My exposure to Black Adam was one Captain Marvel comic from... like a second story in a Batman-Superman team-up. Okay. You are a Black Adam fan.
Distantly. Insofar as I'm a fan of most comics characters, it's very hard to find a comics character I can't find something I like about. I like Teth Adam. I don't really like the Black Adam before they retconned him into Teth Adam, to be perfectly honest. He's just a very one-note fucking Silver Age comic book villain.
Evil Shazam.
Evil Shazam. I like the world building that comes from him. I like the history that comes from him. I like the contrast. I think he serves as an excellent contrast to Captain Marvel, to Shazam, to Billy. Because he is gifted he has all these same powers, but he is an anti-hero at best. Usually just a fucking villain. He's a brutal, violent man from out of the past who might have good reasons to do what he does, but is at the end of the day not a fucking hero. And they really nailed that. Black Adam is not a superhero. Black Adam is a super person. Black Adam would fit in The Boys.
I didn't think about it until you described it that way just now, but this is basically just Encino Man with lightning powers.
Yeah, he is. Well, to be fair, he's not a cave person.
No.
He's
got some civilization under him.
He is unfrozen caveman superhero.
He does also, for no reason, walk through walls to get around.
And then when someone said, "You don't have doors where you came from?" he goes, "No, of course we have doors." Which says that
and they drop it.
It says that he knows what doors are. This is a choice he's making.
I just love smashing through walls like the Kool-Aid Man.
And to be fair, if you could just do that, you would.
I don't
If it
understand
wasn't
enough
your
about the
house-
structural integrity of buildings. I guess if I was like, if I was literally Black Adam and never gave a fuck.
have had all of your fucks stolen from you by the cartoonishly evil king of ancient Gondok.
I mean, what else do you got? Like,
Look, that is the other thing I really wanted to praise. They fucking did it. The absolute fucking mad son of a bitches put Sabak on screen, looking like the fucking devil from Legend, with a fucking flaming inverted pentagram on his chest. Stepped right out of a comics panel into the movie, and he was so fucking amazingly over the top. I loved it so much. It's just because they wouldn't have done that. Even Marvel wouldn't have. He wouldn't have had the pentagram.
No, that is so DC. That is so absolutely. It's like
And
if
even,
Dex the Black Racer shows up and he is on skis.
Even 6 years ago, DC would not have done that.
And that's one thing you point out that I can't really argue with is that it's funny to think that the X-Men movies weren't that long ago.
They weren't. And, in those movies, they straight up mock the idea of Wolverine dressing like Wolverine. Directly mock it. And if the X-Men movies that are coming up, if Logan's in them, because he might not be, they've said they might be going a different way, you bet your ass he's going to end up in the yellow. Well, he's going to end up in a yellow and maybe brown outfit. Maybe I prefer blue, but that's a topic.
Opinion.
Yeah, it's a topic for another day. But he's gonna,
I can edit the podcast. Don't make me edit the podcast.
It's probably not gonna be spandex. But current DC would just make it fucking yellow spandex.
Yeah. And that seems to be the case going forward with James Gunn in charge of things. I'm really looking forward to. This is what I've wanted since it was whispered about.
James Gunn in charge of the DCEU or whatever they're calling it. Great.
I have compared this movie to Poop, but in a loving way, because this is a great example of the kind of films I want from DC.
Schlocky, unapologetic about how goofy comic books are, and willing to celebrate them.
And I think that's the thing that Eternals, which I recognize as a Marvel property. If you didn't see our Eternals podcast, or we didn't make it, I honestly don't remember. It's my favorite DC movie. It was until the Batman.
Yeah, it's a good DC movie. It's not a great MCU movie, but it's a good DC movie.
That's what the Eternals did wrong, is they took themselves too seriously. Honestly, the worst non-Batman DC stories take themselves too fucking seriously, are trying to make some sort of big point that they stumble on.
Now, I think that's a great transitionary to the parts of this movie that I do not believe deserve praise. It always feels mean to say things like this on the internet where they might hear them, but I recognize that acting is a difficult job at the best of times, and I'm not an actor, so I couldn't do the things that actors do. They have a very difficult, very tiring, hard job to accomplish. But boy, fucking howdy, were the normie sidekicks in this movie just not very good.
I blame the director.
Maybe I don't know dick all about who directed this movie.
I don't either. I don't know. I've got the Wikipedia page up here. Let's just go up here and find it directed by. I don't know how to say any of those words. Jaume Collet Serra. That's wrong. Let me know in the comments. You do another take. You don't have to be there all day. You don't have to be Alfred Hitchcock about it. You don't have to be what's his name?
My brain just wants to say Andy Kaufman.
Stanley Kubrick about it. But you do another take and go, okay, maybe with more verve. Maybe a little less on the nose. Now, there are restrictions. There's studio overhead, blah, 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 blah. 1,000 billion people make one movie.
Sometimes it's just the material they were given to work with.
Sure.
If you give someone the line, it is his darkness that allows him to do the things heroes like you can't, and expect them to deliver that line like a fucking human being into a camera, you have given them... They better be your strongest warrior, because you've given them your hardest test.
Look. Nothing in this movie was as stupid as it's true he wields the sea.
But it was that caliber of stupid.
It's that caliber of writing, yeah. And that's a problem DC Comics has. So, like, again, like you said, it's the material they're working with.
But sometimes there's stuff that, like, works. Like, all right, great example. This is comparing it to the MCU, which, you know, I like that they're not trying to be the MCU, but this is just a general filmmaking thing. Captain America's The River of Truth speech. If you read the panel from the comic, it's fucking great. If you watch the Captain America Civil War, I believe is where it is, they gave it to a different character, which is fine, but that's not the point I'm making. They changed the speech because the whole fucking thing wouldn't work in a movie.
Wolverine says much in one leap, no?
Exactly. It is... Look, DC Comics, on the page, the speech bubbles, they can work in a way that an actor having to fucking say that out loud in a place where other people can hear them doesn't.
Speaking of speech bubbles, perhaps this is cynical of me. It was just a gut reaction I had while watching the film, but when Cyclone was doing her thing, I felt like her freeze frames and slow-mos were being narrated by Frank Miller. And I don't mean in a skeezy way, just like she whirls with the speed of 100 hurricanes. Fast and beautiful like a dancer on the wind. Like, it looked good, but I'm sitting there with these slow-mos and it works for everyone else. For her, I was a little taken out of things for.
It was they gave her a lot of splash pages.
They did, yeah, and that was kind of a cool technique for filming. I don't know that it worked, but I'm glad they tried something different. It was very Zack Snyder.
It was very. They did a lot of speed up, slow mo, speed up. And to be fair, I'm happy. I'm happy because I don't like that Zack Snyder abandoned that. That's a great filmmaking trick. Why you people hating on it? It's great.
I think it worked really well for Black Adam when he was going so fast, and we got to see the world from his perspective. I think that's always a great shout. And it was a cool idea to make it more cinematic. It was just the things they chose to focus on. And, like, the things they chose to make ridiculous shaky cam. A young man walking down the stairs should not make me jumble like I've fallen down regular stairs.
Yeah, but you're not wrong. There was one fight scene. I think it was the first one between Adam and Carter Hall, fucking Black Adam and Hawkman. That they just went full fucking shaky cam, and that was just two whirling shapes.
I understand that this movie had to be edited down a great deal to get a PG-13 rating, so maybe that was part of it.
Oh, so Black Adam. So the hashtag release the let Black Adam say fuck cut.
They were brutally fucking murdering people.
Well, that's dumb. That would have actually improved this movie a great deal, and it would have served to improve and like refocus the thematics.
I think the final kill would have lost something if the rest of the movie was exactly as bad. But you're right.
Like that's. Look, that's not just gore for gore's sake. That fits the thematics of the movie. I hate censors. But the final kill was fucking beautiful.
Well, I mean, we also have to remember that this was Warner Brothers' Hail Mary.
This movie had to fucking make money, dude.
We need a PG-13 rating to widen our audience to its maximum. You don't understand. All of our money is gone. We threw it in a big bin of fire, labeled "Throw your money here to destroy it." And guess what happened?
This movie has to make fucking money, dude. And The Rock saved Warner Brothers. Black Adam saved Warner Brothers.
So you were talking about some of the actors' performances. What did you think of the main characters' performances? That being The Rock and Aldous Hodge, Noah Centineo, Sarah Shahi. And,
all the superhero actors did great.
Yeah, you think so?
Genuinely, all the superhero actors really did a good job. They all came to do their work. I don't think any of them delivered I can't think of a wrong note any of them hit. Fucking Pierce Brosnan was absolutely fucking amazing.
Pierce Brosnan was my favorite part of this movie.
Oh, I think, yeah.
I need to wedge that in there.
Same. He was great.
So I came into this, I hate Hawkman, actually. I fucking hate him. I always have. He's dumb and an asshole. Which is his character, but, you know, you've gotten what you've paid for.
And they did that right. He's a dumb asshole in this.
I don't really care for Black Adam. He's fine. It's cool. But whatever. I was here for Dr. Fate. And especially when I heard Pierce Brosnan was cast as Dr. Fate, I was very excited because I feel like that's perfect casting. And guess what? It was.
Yeah, Pierce Brosnan does an amazing job as Dr. Fate. He's the best part of the movie.
I didn't like Bigman, Atom Smasher.
Really? I felt he did the role he was called upon to play quite well.
I agree.
You just would prefer Atom Smasher was not that guy?
He was just a waste
He was just a guy. He was just
just a big idiot boy.
He's just a regular person who happens to have superpowers.
Yeah, I don't think they should have invited him.
He seems a little green for let's fight fucking Black Adam.
And they kept bringing him back, and they were like, yeah, this is a great idea.
I mean, to be fair, he's big and strong and tough, and Black Adam punched him right in the face, and he's still alive. So, yeah. You keep bringing him because he can hang.
Yeah, maybe he'll do something useful at some point. Look, we have to keep him in the party because we're all playing characters, kind of thing. D&D.
Well, I mean, also to be fair, he was one of the few people in the movie who got a good solid hit off on Black Adam that he had to fight back from.
Sure.
He was there heavy, and he did a good job at it. He just also happens to be green as goose shit.
Yeah. It's part of my favorite ongoing narrative in the DCEU that Amanda Waller thinks she knows everything. Really doesn't.
Well, that's just the Wall.
Oh yeah, I love it though.
It's absolutely perfect Amanda Waller writing. That she's such an arrogant bitch, and she thinks she's just the absolute balls, and she's fucking not. And I love that. That's perfect. It is perfect. But I think all the superhero characters. Obviously, Dwayne did a great job. This was a passion project. He wanted this movie. He fucking willed this movie.
Oh yeah,
into existence.
It's been 20 years since this was 22 years since this shit was announced.
Yeah, he willed this movie into fucking existence, and I'm proud of him because he did a good job.
Yeah, I'm really happy for him.
Aldous Hodge did great as fucking arrogant, stubborn dickhead, otherwise known as just genuinely perfect Hawkman.
I did also like Cyclone. I thought she was cool.
Yeah, Cyclone was fine.
I kind of dunked on her slow-mo. I liked the character a lot.
No, the character was good. She did a good job. They served as more down-to-earth, normal people heroes. More Marvel-y heroes to contrast fucking Hawkman and Dr. Fate and fucking Black Adam, who are gods.
Right. I'm glad they didn't pull the trigger on the romance angle between her and Atom Smasher. Not just because I didn't care for him, but just
keep it in the background.
Yeah,
it's fine. It can simmer.
I'm okay with it simmering, but don't make them kiss for no reason.
Yeah, agreed.
With a big music swell.
You guys did the right thing there. That was the right call. One exception, the brother/uncle, the electrician. He's a king. He's a king. He gets to hang out at the barbecue. I fucking love that guy.
Mohammed Amer, I believe.
Fucking A+ work, sir.
Yeah, he was a lovely guy.
The female lead, whose name I just do not remember, and the
Adriana
kid.
Tomaz.
Yeah, and the kid. Bro. I'm going to assume you guys are good actors that were done fucking dirty by the edit. Because... Bro, some of those line reads were actually physically painful.
It was when the kid had to do anything other than be a kid.
When the kid had to be serious, or the mom had to be anything but functional. When she was anything but an exposition bot, when she tried to emote, boy, how did that not work.
Well, and that might be a Star Wars thing, too, because The Rock can tell you, no, I'm reading it this way. Pierce Brosnan can go a little off script.
Hey, Pierce Brosnan, you can give Pierce Brosnan direction notes, and he can go, "That's cute. I'm Pierce fucking Brosnan. Yeah. I'll do it how I like."
Two relative randos. Hey, no, deliver it this way. Okay.
Are you sure?
This is the line. But I don't think it should be.
But that doesn't sound like a human would say it. But you're not Pierce Brosnan. You don't have the big swinging dick of Dwayne Johnson. You can't just say, "No, that's insane."
I did think that throne moment lingered on his cock a bit longer than expected.
Well, it was a comics panel.
Oh yeah, I know.
It's a really famous comics panel.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they did a great job. And they did the thing that, since he's becoming a more heroic character, they absolutely had to do, which is that he does not then take over Kahndaq and become its undisputed dictator.
Which is kind of interesting because, like, he could have just been a good king.
But that's not a thing.
I guess.
That's not a thing that you can put on screen. In a modern setting, in a modern world, having someone be a king, having someone choose to take the reins of autocratic power, no matter their justification, will make them come across as a villain because of the world in which we live. That's good fair. King isn't something that gets to exist anymore.
What about good King Wenceslas?
Well, he's been in the past.
Oh, okay.
If you do a period piece, you can be the good king. That can be fine. But you don't get to show up and then, like, become the, dictator of a Middle Eastern nation and be treated as, like,
I'm pretty sure they're African.
Egypt. Yeah. Kahndaq is, like...
Well, I suppose Egyptian god worship was all over that sort of general area,
yeah.
So...
But, like, you just, you don't get to do that. That's not a thing you get to do if you're going to be a heroic character.
Speaking of which, I believe you did have another criticism about contrivances.
Yes, so I understand that you had to have Sabacc happen somehow. So the bad guy who falls firmly in the camp of the human characters in terms of how much I enjoyed his acting.
I thought he was fine.
He had to get his hands on that crown some way. There were so many ways you could have done that weren't have the mom character make the visibly dumbest possible call with a guy who giving in to a guy who is just looking at you and might as well be saying, I am still going to shoot the kid after you give me the crown. Just so we're clear, I'm absolutely going to do that. I would give you that in writing. Would you like a contract stating that I'm going to do that?
At the same time, I can definitely see someone trying to do that anyway, just because what other choice do you have? You can either do everything you can to free your child, or you can not, and then they kill the child.
Right. No, I understand. From an in-character perspective,
Sure.
I get why that person made that decision in that moment. But from stepping up, the writer chose to write a series of contrivances that made that the moment that was put in front of them. And there's so many other ways you could have had that happen.
It just basically made the movie about 20 minutes longer when that wasn't terribly necessary.
No, alright, so, like... This guy's plan is he needs Black Adam to kill him while he is holding the crown. Great. That's fine. All you have to have him do is get his hands on the crown and threaten the kid when he initially takes the kid in the bike chase.
It, in fact, would be very fitting to everybody warning him not to kill people.
And to be fair, that still worked because... They kept saying, don't kill people, don't kill people, don't kill people, and then he kills someone, and that is actually, he is playing directly into that guy's plan.
Right.
That, I think, is very well done. That it literally is the bad guy's plan. I'm going to have the murder man murder me. That's going to work out really well, because he'll definitely murder me. He's the murder man. So, I like that's clever planning on the villain's part, and it's good payoff of the setup of, trying to push Adam into a more heroic bent. All that works. It's just, you didn't have to get there in such an unbelievably contrived way.
Yeah, I agree. I when we discussed this directly after the movie, I did mention that it feels like it's you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't as a Hollywood writer. Either you go too simple and people criticize you for it, or you go too complex. And if you don't, hit that very narrow Riddler trophy and Arkham Knight style series of hoops that making a complicated, convoluted plot is, they're going to criticize you anyway.
And that's fair. Maybe I am being unfair. Maybe if it had been more simple, I wouldn't have been satisfied with it. But I
don't
say,
even know that that's the case. I don't even know that I'd say you're being unfair. I'd say it's a shitty position they're in, and unfortunately, they do have to reap the consequences of failure.
Yeah, it does. They do still have to make a call.
Yeah. It was fine though.
But those are the criticisms I have. I think that's all the criticisms I have.
This movie was shitty, convoluted. A lot of the acting was really flat and wooden. There was a lot of weird slow-mo, slow down, and it was really fun. I don't know that I'd necessarily recommend it, but if you think you might like it, you probably will.
This movie was honestly a really good time. The nitpicks I have aside, it was a really good time, and I think if you like comic books, DC comic books, you will like this fucking movie.